This was one morning I was definitely not expecting to go the way that it is going. So, just to repeat my schedule, my job gives me hours that are all over the place. Some days they don't do this as often, but in a lot of instances, they would have me go in at 11 in the morning, go off at 4 in the afternoon. Some days you get off, come in 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, just insane. And what the trend has been over the past several weeks is that they'll give you these shifts which are in like the last probably 7 or 8 hours of the day. So like you'll go in at 5 o'clock and then not get off till around like 10 or 10:30, and then the drive to get back from that place is usually about half an hour or even longer, depending on how bad the traffic is. So what I started to get into the trend of doing is I would say, you know what, if I want to stream the next day, in the morning, I might as well just stay up tonight because I usually don't go to sleep like immediately after getting back, and then I'll stream from then on. So like if I stream at 3, that's because I've been up from when I got back at 10, 11 o'clock the previous night. But today, I got a little bit tired. This happened last week as well. But what I did was I went to sleep at 12, and then I had my alarm to set to like wake me up, around 3:30. And this, I guess it just didn't go off, or because I don't remember what happened, but I must have like woken up and turned it back off and went back to sleep because I didn't wake up until about 5 something, 6 o'clock. So here we are later than usual. And something like that really actually kind of scares me because over the past several weeks and really several months, I've just been kind of like not wanting to accept it. You can call it coping all you want. There was a desire on my part to not be forced to have to get a second job, right? I always said that like a lot of this stuff is expensive. A lot of these things just cost too much. And that's true. When you get to a point where you're pissing away 100 something dollars a month on gas and then all these other bills, just things get ridiculous. But I really was hoping that I wouldn't have to get a second job because, as I've explained before, I tried to do that last year. It did not go well. Right, one place tries to turn you against the other. And they had me working with this guy yesterday. He and I have been getting along over the last few months pretty well. And he had mentioned in the past that he had another job, and I kind of just asked him about it, what the logistics were and how he had, this, I guess, agreement with the other one to where if he's working at one place or if he's working at the other one, he'll like call out sick or rather give someone his shifts for the one that we have together. And I was explaining to him the reason I was so curious is because I have been putting off looking for a second job because I really just do not want to. I that's been something I've been against doing. Even if I've had the realization that, yeah, I'll probably have to end up getting one if I want to pay for or have a chance of paying for all this crap. And one of the things I was most scared about, because he mentioned that he had been working at the other job earlier in the day and how he only had like 2 hours of sleep. I'm very worried about not getting enough rest. If something like, I do streams whenever there's no like penalty. I can start these whenever I want to, but like the idea of having to get up at 7, 8 in the morning after getting off at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock from the other place the night before, it scares me. It really does. Oh man, I keep imagining how much easier things would be if I actually had relatives that assisted me and did things to help. But we'll get into them later on because they've had some new tactics. My thing is like, because I try to explain this to this one relative, he and I get along really well. I told him, I understand these people are full of crap. I know that they're, I've accepted, like I've known for the pretty much the entire period of the last 2 years that they're just not going to do anything. But what drives me nuts is all the the grandstanding, like all the attempts at appearing to be better than you are, and they've been making the rounds with that stuff as of late. It's really sickening. Because it's like, go all in on your neglect. If you don't want to help somebody with anything that they actually need to survive, then own up to it. Don't sit here and act like, because you, I don't know, ran your mouth on the cell phone one day out of the whole year, you really did something. It's such a joke. It is such a joke. But the self-awareness of these people is just not a thing. Yeah, I'm just saddened to see a lot of this stuff. I don't think it's normal. Like the way that people act, the way that they treat those that they claim to care about, it's real sad. And I have to contend with the rooster before I even start technically, because that thing usually isn't making those noises around 3 and 4, like until around about 4 o'clock. So I guess it's just been going off in the background for the past 2 hours. But yeah, I applied for about I think 10 places the night before last night. Somebody called me, I couldn't answer because I was at work. So I'm sure that could have possibly been one of them. And then if it's somewhere else, they'll probably reach out to me over the weekend or in the next couple of days if they reach out at all. Like I said, I tried as hard as I could to not have to, you know, get 2 jobs, but they want to still over here playing all these goddamn games. And I already explained before the real problem, and it's something me and the guy we're going into, is that places are always going to think about themselves, and which, whatever, that's business, but they're going to practice things that are not practical for the application of someone's life. So for example, instead of hiring a bunch of people, which is what they love to do, and give them barely any hours or not enough to live off of, they could hire 2 or 3 people and have one do that particular thing in the morning 5 or 6 days a week, another one do that same thing in the afternoon 5 or 6 days a week, another one do it at night, and in this way you're giving 3 people the amount of hours that they would theoretically need to be able to survive off of your one little crappy job. But they would despise having to pay us overtime. So what they do is, instead of hiring uh 3 people to do 120 hours of work throughout a week, they will hire 9 people to do 120 hours of work every week. And they'll break it up to where it's like one person gets 20, one person gets 10, one person gets 10 or 15 as well. It's really just lousy. And again, the only people that can make any money off of this stupid stuff are managers. When they get hired and promoted to that position, they get 8-hour shifts. They're there from 11 in the morning to 7 at night, or sometimes even longer than that. They tend to only have to work 4 days a week and just be completely fine with that. Only way you can live off of these types of jobs is if you're a manager. That's it. That's the only time they show a little bit of concern for you. They have any real desire to give you some hours. It's sad. And the thing I've tried to explain, because somebody might say, "Oh, why don't you?" Not everyone can be a manager. Some people don't have the leadership skill. I mean, hell, I think a lot of the managers that they have don't have the leadership skills, but that's besides the point. So it's really just one of those things where they're not helping anyone by like having the practices that they do, and it's going to just keep causing people to leave and say to hell with it. Because as much as I've gotten used to that place over the past almost year of being there, to where I do probably next Saturday, I'll do a stream like just reflecting on like a retrospective. It's it's not helpful to me to just for things to be the way that they are. It's not in the long term. It's going to just keep screwing me up because with a place like this, the hours are not only not enough, but they're also unstable. Like you can, I mentioned like this week they only gave me two shifts, one for yesterday and then one for I think it was Monday or whatever. And then next week I'm getting four, which is much better, right? Double the work, but who knows what they might do after that. Ugh. And that's the core issue that things are just so like they fluctuate to this heavy degree that the only way to carve out a realistic path where every week you can get at least a decent sum of money is to have two jobs and increase your likelihood of having one where they don't screw you over like that, where they don't have you, come in 2 days that week, and then next week it's like five, and then the week after that it's three, and the week after that it's man, nobody has time for this stupid stuff. They're really delusional if they think anybody can survive off that. And they know that no one can. They know that. They just don't care. Good old corporate apathy. It's the same thing with the whole like stopping us from getting. And that was something else we went into that I was very just interested in his response by. Like when I mentioned I stopped eating there when they kept messing with my discount and trying to like squeeze more money out of me. But some like weird technicality, and he told me he stopped eating there when they started to prevent us from getting free food. And I was like, yeah. And we had this conversation about how when people are working these jobs and they're the reason that these places can even be afloat because they can't run without our labor, and all we want in return is stuff that they have already cooked, stuff that if they don't give it to us, they're going to give it to the damn dumpster. And I guess then whoever jumps in there will probably get it. But all we're asking for is food that they have already made that they're going to throw away anyway, and they won't even let us have that. And I told him the thing that kills me is that in all likelihood, because we've discussed how it's this is not a thing that's just present at all of their restaurants. It wasn't like there was some mandate across all of them to where you have to do this. So in all likelihood, there is I don't know which one it is, but there is probably some restaurant within their jurisdiction or several of them where people work there and then they get to take home some free food because why the hell not? It's only at the one we're at, seemingly, where if you are working late night and you got all this food that they're done with, it's finished, they're never going to use it or sell it to anybody. Yeah, just get rid of it. Oh, you want something to eat? It's sad. And with me, it was just a tale of escalation. First they stop you from getting free food, then they try to like charge you even more money just to eat there with their weird like I still don't know what the point of that. Well, I know what the point of it was, but like the fact that they thought I would put up with that, I would go from getting food for free to then having to pay $11 for two of something and then having to pay 17. I was like, yeah, it's a tale of escalation where just it gets more and more stupider, and you're like, okay, that's it, that's enough, we're through. He and I were joking. I said that I kept like putting off contacting him. That's actually one of the few things I regret about you know just how busy I've been over the last month or so. But we had a joke that you'd have to get like three jobs, like two still isn't enough, and then when you're at the second job, because I said we're going to be doing like phone stuff, like the operator's like, "Hey, how are you?" That kind of thing. Where you you have to go in the bathroom while you're at your second job and just like sit on the like in the stall talking to the girl or whatever for 10 minutes. Every waking moment is replaced by work hours. Even when you're at one job, you still have to like do stuff for another one. It's ridiculous. And I genuinely feel bad for anyone, who has to get two jobs to survive. It's a real shame because it's a failure of the system. As I've explained before, the purpose of having a job is to be allotted the ability to take care of yourself. So when you're not able to do that, either because the job pays too little or they don't give you enough hours, which is usually it's the latter that causes that. Then there's just no point to working there. He and I were having this conversation about how people will oftentimes put up shifts for someone to take them, and I used to apply for those all the time, and eventually I just got so sick of always being turned down, and I was like, you guys want to only give me this many hours. You got employ, and of course, we also talked about the like the scammer aspects of this stuff, right? Like how one day I picked up a shift for Saturday, a day I don't even like working, and I was going to work all weekend. And I got back from the shift on Saturday and found that they deleted me from Sunday. And it literally is you take one step forward, one step back. And that's the big central issue with a lot of this stuff. Everything is so transactional and bare bones at the same time. Oh, and man, I forgot. I have a job interview on Monday over the phone. Thank the Lord. Of course, the biggest problem to me is driving all these places and not receiving anything. Yeah, he and I also talked about how so many employers will ask you how many hours do you want this week, or do you want to work per week? And I'm just I got to a point where I would just cringe because it's like, listen, you guys know that you're not going to use me for 40 hours a week. Let's dispel of that fiction before we even begin talking. And they they really do that where they're like, how many hours are you seeking to work? And you tell them 40, right? You don't get 40. You only a lot of times you don't even get half of that. So yeah, the only solution I can think of is to try working somewhere else in the mornings, possibly even on days when I go to the other job, and then I'll keep doing that until probably eventually like just passing out and getting in trouble at one or the other for not having the stamina. But no, he and I were having a good time just thinking about how much better things could be. That's why I did what could have been, because I always try to explain to people that oftentimes you'll have a reality that's just crappy. But the thing about that reality is that it doesn't have to be that way. Like there's no specific thing in terms of, oh, these jobs, they have a requirement that they can only give their managers 40 hours a week. It's like, no, no, no. They just don't want to pay people a decent amount of money. So their solution is to just hire a bunch of people who they're barely going to use anyway. So it's basically the managers are like up here and everybody else is just crabs and barrels jumping around trying to scrape the coins. The managers are like the YouTube channels that have hundreds of thousands of subs, and the rest of us are like, I don't know, 10 grand or even lower. We get our coins, but it's never going to be enough. You are a lazy person that wants to work more. You are a lazy person that is trying to get another job so they can take care of themselves. Man, somebody just put me out of my misery with this stuff. Oh boy. I'm not kidding when I say it really makes me sad to know that things can be so much better than they are, and just people they defend a lot of this stupid stuff. They don't Mm. They don't think it's crazy to be this way. I was having a conversation with someone else about this one person who they were they're about 60, I'd say 66, mid 60s, right? And I'm old enough to remember when they tried to run for I think it was a Senate seat in somewhere in the late 2000s, and just how they completely botched it in terms of they didn't seem to know what they wanted to do. They didn't seem to be that aware of what positions to have. And this led to them prematurely just dropping out of consideration. And ever since they've been appointed to like have different positions, right? Little like lesser stuff, and they give these speeches where they promote people more famous than them. And I said, it's so sad because there are so many like public figures, Julian Bond, for example, being another example, where it's like I can just watch stuff with them and see what could have been like if they were just what's the way of putting it? When you have a person who tried for something and they don't get it, there I guess for me, there's like a thing where my mind starts to wonder, like, is this really what they pictured for themselves? Is this as good as it gets for them? Oh, this person, it's sad because they're highly educated. They are everyone that I've shown their picture to says they're attractive, and it's like they have such an incredible tale. They have genuine things that they do believe in, and they seemingly squandered their opportunity to actually make something of themselves. And like they're not some failure by any means. I mean, they live comfortably. They do their little paid speeches and all the rest of that stuff. So they're making whatever amount of money to take care of themselves and their multiple children. It's just sad to think about how if this person had just been more prepared back then, maybe things would have turned out differently. Maybe they would, have some higher job than what they currently have. I think they would have been qualified for that if they, it's just that's why I said it's like it's one of those things where I think a lot of times people don't achieve what they're supposed to be, or at least what they could be. And some people, like that person, they're not horribly off. Like the life they're living is not the worst thing imaginable, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, are they really what they could be? If they if is this really as good as it could be for them? Have they reached the pinnacle of their potential, or I guess their um ascendancy? And I don't think that they have. I think they have settled for less because when the one time that it looked as if they could climb, they chickened out and they never recovered. And it's very disappointing. when I watch them and I look at them, I have a do I have a picture of them? Uh, yeah, a little file right here. But it's like when I look at them, when I see them, I just think about, being married, having multiple kids, sitting on some boards. This is it's not the worst life. It's not bad. It's not horrible. It's not something you should be embarrassed by. But like I said, when I picture what like the opportunities that were there for them, the chance that they had to, back in the like late 2000s, be something bigger than what they are. I just find myself saddened because I really do think it's sad. But I brought up Julian Bond because he's another example. This very articulate person that runs against John Lewis for that House seat back in, I'm forgetting what year it was, but whenever Lewis started, and uh, he did run for president. Technically, didn't really. I don't think made the best effective way of doing it, but still, he became a professor, and it's like again, it's not bad. It's not a horrible line of work, but you start to wonder, was that as good as he could possibly be? And the answer is without a shadow of a doubt, no, absolutely not. That's why I said with a lot of these people, I look at them, and when they do something that's kind of like ambitious, but it doesn't work out, there's that part of me that's like, hmm, was that as far as you could go? Like I don't claim to know everything about the man, but as far as I can tell, after the House race, which was in '86, I don't yeah, I don't think he ever tried to run for office ever again. And he lived, what, 29 years, after that. So like 2015, he passed away. So he still had plenty of time to, try. It's just he just didn't bother after that, which and of course I there are reasons for that, I'm sure. And that race was pretty hostile and nasty, but it's all part of that same thing of just you watch these people, they try to like grab for something, and when it doesn't work out, they just never make another attempt. Like the ambition is quelled so quickly. But yeah, every time I see that person, and they are pretty prominent. I don't think I go a year without at least seeing them at some form, or um introducing somebody somewhere. Maybe they go and talk to some people. Every time I see them, I just think about, man, what could have been if there was just a little bit more ambition, if there was just maybe a few more attempts at doing the thing I talked about. I really believe they could have gone very far, certainly much further than they are. And with these relatives, I kind of, like I always try to explain to people, when you have a life expectancy that's in the mid to late 70s, that means that by the time you reach your late 30s, you have lived half of your life. Again, you're projected to. It doesn't mean automatically that you have, but going off of trends. And that's why when I see people who are 48, 49, damn near 50, right? And they're doing this whole living paycheck to paycheck thing. I just I can't dig it. I can't look at that and say this is what I want to be. This is something that appeals to me. And what's sad about it is that they invoke like a deceased parent. Oh, the last time I saw them, they wanted me to, and it's like that goes back to my thing of, if I'm someone's parents and I'm passing away or I have passed away, I'd like to believe that when I do, and I don't bemoan them the same way because I think these children have made many dumb decisions that are only their own fault. But it's like, I don't know, if I was a parent and I had adult children, whether they're young adults, middle age, whatever, I would feel bad about the fact that they are struggling financially, right? Oh, if I get fired from my job this week, then I just have no money for the next month. I mean, like stuff like that would make my skin turn or like, just recede. But the reason I'm a lot more sympathetic to that parent than I am with a lot of these other ones is because I look at the personal choices and decisions of these people, and they leave a lot to be desired. Like, um, when you again, let's just go through it. But like, there's several overlying themes between the lives of these different people, right? So like having multiple children, usually by multiple partners, um, none of whom you were ever married to, stuff like that, right? And then, when the other parent doesn't do anything, you're like so shocked and surprised and, oh my god, I can't believe it. And I think it's really just a matter of stupidity versus immaturity, because it's like they can do this as young as 16 or 17 and do this as old as in their mid 30s. So it's like it doesn't matter how old they are, they can just meet some guy who offers nothing except, their attractiveness to him, and have his kid, have the guy, run out and not do what he's supposed to do. And then that'll be another like headache for them for the next several years, or almost 2 decades, or if not even longer than that. But what's sad about these people is that for as much as they're struggling, they have this tendency to try to talk to a younger person and tell them, you can't just give up. You have to try. And I'm like, it's so disturbing to me. Because I've explained this before. I don't, we talk about this whole like attempt by these guys to make fun of me over not being with some woman. I said there's a way that a lot of this stuff needs to be done or handled for it to be something that's worth my time. And a scenario where, and of course this usually happens with the mother, but it's like a scenario where I have a romantic partner who has my child, who then proceeds to not do anything for it, is just not something that should happen, needs to happen, and will benefit absolutely nobody. But like I said, if I reached an age like that and I'm still, you know, financially destitute, not well off, whatever, whatever, um, I probably would be looking for the nearest 18th story. And I don't say that to insult someone, but it's because the thing about a lot of like younger people, the ones that are like college aged, maybe, a few mid 20s, 30, whatever, it's like the thing about a lot of those people is that even if they don't have something in the moment, or maybe that for that whole year, 2 years, 3 years, this is theoretically not what they're going to be long term, right? There's this idea that if they just keep holding out for that piece of paper or for that, that one of those two jobs, then they should be able to eventually like climb up the economic ladder. And when I don't see any growth, financial growth, right, for a period of 10 or 20 or even longer numbers of years, I'm just not going to see an incentive to believe that things are ever going to get any better. And just like my friend said, what are you waiting for? Um, I mean, like I said, if we're going off of the trend of people to live to 70 something before passing away, this means that they have 20 more years after spending 20 something years already not like being, where they're supposed to be financially, to see this magically turn around and then finally enjoy their life, or, you know, not be in some crappy economic situation. And again, it's like, what do you, this is my thing of like, if you don't see a sign that things are going to get better, right? Your partners are still ditching you when they have kids with you. You're still like working someplace where the amount that you're making is just entirely or almost entirely consumed by this ridiculous overpriced rent. Again, what are you waiting for? What do you think is going to happen? What magic trick is going to appear that makes any of this stuff equitable? Like I said, these are not young, women or girls. These are people that are in their late 40s, going on 50. And that's why I said I don't see why anyone would look at, a living situation that is going in that manner and just put up with it. Like, they looked at me like I was crazy for talking about wanting to sleep in a van. But I said, I don't want to do that because I desire so much to just never have to pay rent. It is literally due to the high cost of living. It would be nice to live somewhere where it doesn't cost 1,000 or close to 1,000 damn dollars just to sleep in. Because as I've explained before, what's the point of living somewhere if you don't even get to actually live there? If you're working so damn much just to stay in this little one bedroom apartment, like how are you benefited by that? What I'll work very, very hard, 40, 50 hours a week so I can have somewhere to lay my head for maybe 6 or 7 hours a day before going back to my two jobs. I mean, like it's nuts. It doesn't make any sense. You got the lady that was talking about how she had to ask her daughter for some money, and I'm like, man, that's not something I want to do when I'm 50 or 49 or whatever. Like, I'm just saying, I like there's a certain point where you have to get something for yourself, and I don't think they have tried to do that. And the trend with like, I don't have any children. That's been made very apparent. But it's like the tale with these people is that they have multiple kids, and they usually can't even afford to just have one, right? But they have like two or three. Um, and this is like a company that at the same time, by them having some job that doesn't pay enough and all the different stuff that they have to pay for, and they never devise anything to quell this problem. Like these people really believe for the rest of your life, you just work some job where it takes up almost all, like where your rent just takes up almost all of your money, and you have kids that you can barely afford with some partners that aren't, around or don't do anything. And you just keep hoping, right, that eventually someday things will change, or that, I mean, I don't know what they're holding out for. I really don't. I just know it would terrify and scare me to think that would be my future, because I just don't see a future in it. I'm normally the last person that does the whole oh, you need to be responsible because if somebody's working a job, I mean, they are attempting to have money. Um, but like you sometimes think to yourself, these people really not see where if I can't afford, you know, to pay for my house, car, etc., my child, maybe there's something I need to change. Maybe this stuff is just too much. They don't think about that. Like maybe I'm doing something wrong. Because again, it's like at least when you tell a person that's kind of like younger, hey, one day you'll have this, one day you'll have that. At least if they're working a job or two jobs and living with their parents or some other people, there's like a hope that things will turn out that way. But when you're like almost 50 and you're still doing this stupid song and dance, what are you holding out hope for? Like what's at the end of the tunnel? Because you've already reached well past the midpoint of the tunnel. You have lived a majority of your life. I don't think there's any way in hell that like that one person is 49. So you add that up twice, that's gonna be like they'd be what 98. That would be the second half. I don't think they're gonna live to be 98. I don't think they're gonna live to be 80. So again, it's like what are they waiting for? What do they think is coming? And like I said, I don't say that to encourage anyone to just stop trying but it's just so frustrating, man, because as a person who's religious, even if I don't talk about it that much, I've never believed that a benevolent, loving God would say, "You there, my son or daughter, will spend the rest of your life barely able to pay your rent. That is the role I have designated for you." I don't think any figure that I would worship would be that unmerciful towards me for such an extended period of time. This whole thing of, you know, me living the way that I do has only been going on for the past year plus. But and that's why I said I don't believe that's going to be a long-term thing. I would hope not. Um, it's just a really scary thought that like people, because I said before, like I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay, current job is not paying enough, right? They want to be stupid. I'm not going to keep sitting here and only working that one job that doesn't pay enough. I'm going to try to get a second one. And if I can get somewhere that's full time, then I guess I'll have to go that route. But it's like at least I'm trying. Like I'm not going to just sit there and keep doing this drop in the bucket, take one step forward, one step back crap forever, which is what they seem intent on doing. It just drives me crazy, man. Like people really think this is normal. They really have convinced themselves that you should just be fine living paycheck to paycheck. That's okay. Just work somewhere, have all of your money go to this other crap, and then that'll be your life for the rest of it, or for most of it anyway. And that's why I said when I was talking about how like stupid long distance relationships are, in past streams, I also talked about how you have these couples where they work together to pay their rent. They work together to just for basic living expenses. They actually as a collective do things together to benefit the other. They split the rent in half. They get groceries. You don't see so much being expected from one person because the truth is apartments in the state of California are just too goddamn high for one person. And that's why I said I don't know anyone my age that doesn't either live with their parents or some roommate. Like it is basically becoming impossible to just afford these places. You have to be like a damn doctor or lawyer. I just don't think it's normal to have to pay all this money and be expected to like be happy with having no damn money because someday things will get better. You can keep praying to God, but maybe instead of praying so much, you should, try to get a second job or not have all these kids or, something like, again, the fact that people think that's normal to just be in this constant state of minus, minus, minus. Like, going a whole year of just having less and less money or about the same, like, that's horrible. I think every year that somebody works, they should have more money. I truly believe that. I think that there should be an upward slope that a person climbs and gradually just keeps going and going and going. And if they can't receive that or achieve that, then there's something needs to change. But yeah, these jobs are really just pathetic. Like we always talk about how when people try to make it on these websites, how unstable they are, right? You could one day make $1 and the next day make like 30 cents, just how things are all over the place and it fluctuates so greatly. And that's one of the reasons why when people are failing or at least are not able to become, successful streamers or whatever other denomination you want to give them online, people will say, "Oh, go get a job," or "You should get a job." But it's like you get this job, and in spite of the fact that, again, this is the thing that people tell you you're supposed to do if you want to make some money, they're just as unstable as one of these websites, if not even more so. Because at least with YouTube or Twitch or whatever, I can say, all right, I can stream this many hours a week, and people don't watch, it's whatever. But at least I can be I can at the very least be consistent with the amount I put out per week. These jobs will have you right on their schedule, right on their list. And some days they give you, some weeks rather, they give you 4 days to work. Sometimes they give you three. Sometimes they give you two. With this one guy that used to work there, they gave him none for a whole week, and that's why he quit or played a big role in him just saying the hell with it. So it's nuts to me that, again, people, they discourage you from doing this online stuff because they always talk about like the stability of real life. Go get a job. But then you get the job and it's just as unstable, if not more so, than the internet stuff. Like I said, I'm not gonna have a day where YouTube tells me, oh no, you can't stream on Sunday, or we're not gonna let you stream on whatever. Like you're seeing so much instability from the place that's supposed to be stable. It is nuts, man. Just insane. That's why I said I'm so grossed out with this stuff. Really makes me sad that these places have such an opportunity to make the lives better of people, right? By giving them 40 hours a week, and they refuse. They refuse to give you 40 hours a week or sometimes even half of that. And they also refuse to give you an actual consistent schedule, which plays another role in your inability to get a second job, which is why people just say, you know what, forget it, I'll go work somewhere else. And I really didn't want to have to do that to them because, like I said, it's a lot easier to get fired than hired. But if push comes to shove, I'm gonna have to do something differently because this whole every week plus 400, but then minus 30 on gas, and then minus 140 for this bill, or 110 for that bill, or 40 for this bill. It gets to be too damn much. And that's not even factoring in the cost of food. Oh man, this is a cartoon. People tell you, "Oh, don't try to become a streamer or whatever because it's unstable. Go get a regular job, and then yeah, you went and got the regular job, all right, and you see how much better off you are with it. You see the big change, transformation that your life has experienced since then. Like I said, that's the stuff just makes me sad because I know that it doesn't have to be this way, but they're insistent on it being that way. Of course, one of my other favorite tactics was one of these places that told me to come in for an interview 2 or 3 weeks later, which I don't know why they do that where they schedule interviews damn near a month before it's supposed to happen. You go in there and then you got the lady talking about the manager's not here, but keep calling us back. And then when they're here, you can come in. And I'm like, man, get out of my face. I'm not about to go hunt down the damn manager for an interview that in all likelihood is not even going to see me get hired anyway. I always think how crazy it is. Like we're gonna schedule something with you, then stand you up, right? Nobody's here to interview you, and then like you're supposed to just keep jumping through hoops to see us. The hell? It's goofy. Yeah, these places are run by some clowns. I mean, serious. What would I look like if I was scheduling interviews with people and I'm not even there? It's like, hey, person that is supposed to be, coming. We're supposed to come here for this interview. Thanks for showing up, even though we're not here. So, okay, so why am I here again? What's the point? Of course, my favorite thing is seeing the employers that here we are, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, and they're still looking for somebody to work for them. Because, like I said, they get used to this revolving door stuff. They just have people come in, come out, come in, come out. And me and the guy were talking about this. We said, what is the point of them hiring more people? Like, okay, so you don't want to pay the people you already have more money, right? To use them more. You're going to hire more people who you have to retrain and reteach all this stuff to. I, it's like instead of giving 3 people a chance to live off of our crappy job every week, how about we give maybe like 9 people a chance to make a few coins and then have to work somewhere else too to make ends meet. Yay. Employers, employers, employers. We're gonna be doing this same song and dance for a long time. Oh, it's been so cold over the last couple of weeks, man. When I lay down on the like, it used to be the where, and it's why I told this one idiot that doesn't understand how weather works. I could just lay down with no blanket or cover, and now it's so cold. I put the 3 covers on, and it's still not enough. Like I still feel cool. The weather has fluctuated heavily, but it makes sense. We're in the winter months, so it's just so crazy about how hot the summer was and how now it's like just like this. Didn't know if I was making myself look like I was shaking, but that was the intent behind doing that. Mm. But no, my ideal second job would be something with some flexible hours. Like you can just show them the schedule for one place, and then they'll schedule you for the times you're available outside of that. And I would really hate to work on Saturday, but as long as I could do it in the probably like the early afternoon or late afternoon, right? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it should be all right. I mean, like I don't make any qualms about the fact that I would absolutely work 7 days a week if that's what it took to be able to, which I don't want to, but still like 6 or 7 days a week just to make ends meet. Because as I've explained before, I'm not really happy with the way stuff has gone in terms of all these different demises and passings and just the general trajectory of like people not being there, but also like the ones that are around not doing anything to assist me. So I said if it were up to me, I would work more. I'm not against working like at all. Oh man, there are some books that I wish there was an audio version of because I could just hear the person's voice in my head. Some people have some really like soothing or very unique voices. Like they just when they talk, I can instantly like I guess their dialect is so distinct that I don't normally associate it with anyone else. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just thinking about a lot of this stuff and how crazy it's all been. When you work somewhere and you give them your all, you show up on time every time they put you on the schedule. You come times where you don't even feel like coming, including when you're not even supposed to still be there when they ask you to stay longer. And it just seems like no matter how hard you work, it doesn't matter. And I hate having that feeling. That feeling makes me just want to vomit. I'm serious. Like there's very few things in this world where as I'm just thinking like, oh, like that, but that makes me cringe to know that you can work a job every opportunity you're given to work, and it's still you have no damn money because you have to pay for all these different things, and everyone that could help you, you're supposedly loving guardians. They all when you need assistance with like with something, they pull out their Hoover flag. I'd make sure I have two chargers. Hey, you need help with something? This is them. All they're good for is running their mouths. That's the full extent of their powers. Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. All I can say. But this stupid stuff isn't going to go on for too much longer. That's all I can say. I might give it maybe one more year and then I would just quit if it's still this bad. And these jobs, I tell you. No, I got this one person that I haven't spoken to in about 2 months because they're my like I had the whole thing with the phone being off, and then every time I write something to them, it's some giant. They want to like write some giant enormous message, and it kind of like dissuades me from typing stuff back to them. What time are these guys open? Um, 10 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, I might just. It's so funny to like usually eat in the afternoon and be like, oh, see, I skipped breakfast and I can have, it's like, but I think I might actually like just go and get something from there. Because Saturday is always like the one day out of the week where I try to treat myself to something more than just soup or whatever other thing I got from the market. Mm. But it is interesting how these jobs are more unstable than any of the stuff you do online when you really think about it. Because like online, at least we're conditioned to know that this stuff can just collapse on us at any moment. People always feel like when they have a job, things are going to be secure and you're going to have this many hours of work and they're going to use you this many times. But in all seriousness, the only people who are consistently getting hours with a lot of these, uh, like food related jobs are just the managers. Everybody else is on some weird kind of parasitic relationship with the company. And besides that, you can just go to hell pretty much. I love working somewhere where they only give me uh, barely double digit hours a week to work. Yay. Love fluctuating hours. Love working this Monday and then not working next Monday, but then working next Tuesday, but then not working the Tuesday after that. Oh man, and the saddest part is they really expect somebody to put up with this stuff. Like it's nuts. Turn this thing on. Oh, I did want to see something from yesterday. Go in here and look real quick. Oh man. Just trying to see how many people watch this thing. Okay, cool. I'm always in such an interesting position where even when I go to sleep earlier, I still feel tired. Because what ends up happening is like you'll sleep earlier thinking you're, getting more rest, but then you wake up earlier, so it kind of just cancels itself out. I woke up to yesterday at about 10 in the morning after going to sleep at 3 or 4 a.m. And I tried to go back to, I don't know if I was able to successfully, but I tried to go back to sleep later in the day and then went up to the job. So I guess maybe that's part of what caused me to just crash at 1 a.m. like I did today. Oh man. Yeah, it's just such a tragedy that every I always say that when I did like the everything started crumbling leaving nothing video, the whole point was to just show things were not good, right? It was like one thing after the other, stuff with the job, stuff with different relationships with people that you don't find satisfying. And I said, it's really sad to think about how like at a time where you get no support from the people that claim they care so much about you, like at all, you work somewhere that in spite of you being employed by them month after month, week after week, uh, they just will never appreciate you. You will always be a part-time employee who gets his little, you know, several $100s a week, and all of that goes to either gas or some bill, and then you're maybe able to carve out like 20% of it for food. It's sad. The revolving door of the modern job. Quick to chastise somebody over not doing something correctly and slow as hell to give someone a decent number of hours. I'm looking at that sky outside. It is so white. I can already picture because I can kind of feel it right now. But when you go outside, it is ice cold. I'm not going to say it's the North Pole, but it feels like it. I mean, I've had plenty of mornings where I'll get up and just see the whole like outside covered in fog, and then we don't even have to talk about those car windows and how just you can't see anything out of them. No, I could wait for this place to open, but I don't think I'm going to. Let's see, it's not even 8 a.m. and they don't open until 10. So that means I'd have to go for like wait 2 more hours to get some. I got stuff I can eat here. It's no big deal. What I could do is just eat something from here now and then go to them later in the day, which is usually how this works, where they tend to be my afternoon meal. But no, what could have been was a video I really wanted to make because I do think it's important to just lay out to people that when you don't exist in a vacuum, you can see where something is not the way it should be, or there's a possibility that it could be another way. And to work somewhere where they gave you free food for months, and then suddenly they stop doing that, you feel the difference, right? You can sense it. Once again, this is not an abstract concept that you just have in your mind. This is them being one way, and it was like nice, yeah, good, free meals, and then they just change it on you, and you're supposed to just go, oh well, I guess that's over now. It's like, no, it shouldn't be. But no, I really thought we had a good arrangement. I go over there and dance my little dance for however many hours, and they get some money back from me buying something. But they wanted even more, and it was just too much. You guys want to cut hours and raise prices? You see what happens to you. Even if I was working at two places and making like 700 or 800 a week, I still probably wouldn't be eating it. Because like the thing about these fast food places is that it's so hard to get like an actual item of food that fills you up that's like less than $10. So for me, every time I think about how you go up here 5 times a week, that's $50 just to eat once. I just can't square it. Because again, there's just like when you think of going to the market and buying like 12 soups for $20. This is food that I'm going to eat for 3 days straight. And it's the equivalent of 2 meals over at this other place. Like I said, that's the way my mind works. I'm always thinking about, you know, what costs this, how much costs that. Is it worth it? They had some appetizer up at that place that you could, I guess, get 6 pieces of for I think it was $5. And I tried to eat those one day, and actually one day I bought the 12 pack of them, and I still didn't like. I was feeling hungry. Must be 5 or 6 hours later. Like it tastes good. It's just not filling, which played a big role in me not getting it anymore. No, there's such a lack of purpose with a lot of this stuff. You get really tired of just watching people, run in circles. And that's what these jobs like for you to do. Just sit there and make your little itty bitty amount of money and have all of it go get pissed out on all this dumb stuff. Yeah, I was just thinking about this fast food place and how they really are. Like, I'm amazed that you have all the different options that you do, and I really have just resorted to only eating at one with any sense of regularity because they're the only one that I think has some decent prices where you can get, 3 burgers for $11 or just their stuff has never cost as much as a lot of these other places, and that plays a big part in me being satisfied with them or liking them. Because that's the central issue here. That a lot of this stuff, even if I like the way it tastes, I don't like the way it costs. I mean, when you go to the market and you can pick up, you can buy one of these for what is that one seven, like less than $2 for one of these. I'd say about two of these is the equivalent of probably me being full for about 6 hours, 7 hours. But it's like if I can get stuff that'll make me full that costs less than $4, do you really think I'm gonna go and pay 12 or 13 for some overpriced, ridiculous burger? Are you serious? Pay 2, 3 times the price for the same effect, if not even crappier? Yeah, they're real delusional. I think I'm gonna pay for that. Even if I did have a 40-hour a week job, I still wouldn't. I would say no, thank you. Every time they come up and ask me if I want to order something, I just have to hold back from laughing. Hey, do you want to pay for this stuff that you used to be able to get for free? And it used to be 11 before we tried to charge you 17? No, 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 no. And it's funny too because it has been months since I've ordered from there, and they still haven't, I guess, caught on to just the fact that I've divorced myself from eating their stuff. It's like, yeah, I like the stuff they make, but I can get things I like as well from other places at cheaper prices. It's just so funny to me. Like they really thought I just couldn't live without ordering some from there. They were shown the real me. And the real me is someone that when stuff gets too expensive or costs too much, unless it's a utility, I just don't put up with it. That's the truth. Like if it's not something I need, I just don't bother. Like I'm on iTunes and they when Deadpool and Wolverine came out, it was like $30. That's absurd for a digital movie, for one digital movie. But they've lowered it to 20, which I don't, think is that bad or whatever. And I can't see myself getting anything this week um besides food and gas. Like I definitely need some gas for today and tomorrow, or I guess like for next time I go to work. Um, so I'll go and get that, and that'll be like $30, and then food for this week should cost around. I'm not entirely sure because I still have like a bunch of soups I can eat, so I just need probably some chips because I like to take those with me when I'm on the way to the job because a lot of times I have like my stomach will feel weird and I won't feel like eating anything when I'm at the place. But then when I'm working, I start feeling hungry, and during the break, I can snack on one of those. So I'll probably go and get about 5 bags or 6 or 7, which will be about 12 or $14. Um, I'm stocked up on drinks, so that's not something I have to worry about. For a while. Yeah, really, the only thing I need to get are probably just some gas and some in all likely just some chips. So they'll probably be altogether about maybe 40 something dollars. So if I get the movie, that'll make it like 60 something. But you get the idea that like that's the way my mind works, where I start thinking, okay, I need this for this. This will cost that much, and then altogether it's this much. Oh, I'm just imagining the day where I could just sit back and relax and not have to worry about paying for all this crazy stuff, or if I did, at least have the money to pay for all of it. It's a nice thought. There was some signed book I was trying to get, or at least I was looking at. I kind of balked at the price. I was like, is this really necessary? Do I want this? Hmm, let's see here. You can get a signed copy for $50 damn dollars. Somebody's selling the same thing for 40, somebody else selling it for 100. What I'll do, in all likelihood, because I'm not paying 100 for somebody's to sign a copy of a book, I probably would offer them some amount that is like the people who are selling it for 40. I probably would say, hey, I'll give you some, I'll give you 20. And then if they decline, then whatever. Because there are some sellers that are just really stingy. Like the one guy that is insisting on selling this one autograph for $200. I'm just like, dude, nobody is going to buy that for 200. You've had it sitting up on eBay for how many months? How many? Yeah, like since the earlier part of this year, at least. Again, the key word there is at least. It's probably been up there even longer, and it's like he's so delusional. Just like I said, if I had something that was just sitting there month after month and it's not selling, and nobody like is making any attempt at buying it full price, I probably would, in all likelihood, be like, okay, here, whatever. Wait, did I see what I just thought I saw? But no, it would be nice to have that thing signed. But like I said, I'm not losing any sleep over not having it. People seem to have a lot. I wonder if I could go on Amazon and get anything like get the same thing cheaper. Because I mentioned before, I bought Carrie Lake's book, and I didn't even know. Like when I bought the copy, it's like, why is her name on the cover twice, and why is it written in gold ink? And then I saw where she was signing the damn dust jacket like an idiot. Only person in the world that can, uh, how do you do it? Write a book and then write their name on the thing that people wouldn't even would be like the most easily damaged and discardable. It was goofy. Oh man. Let's see here. Um, 100 people are selling this thing. Are you serious? Oh, lovely. You can't scroll down like manually, like just pressing the button to scroll down. So I have to like drag it with the not doing all that, whatever. But you get the idea that there is a lot of stuff that I still would like to own, um, and like to have, but if things are costing too much, then that's just going to be the trend. But it has been a policy of mine that when things start getting rougher financially, I tend to not, I guess, be as willing to purchase things. Again, I've got 5 shifts coming up, so if I do want to treat myself to a meal today for like $10 and maybe buy a movie, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. But like I said, I don't want to live this way forever, and I hope I don't, because I really do just want to get that one movie. Uh, I haven't actually. Let me see. When was the last time I bought a movie? Because the only things I can remember getting in the last several months from iTunes were some songs, and that was when the internet on my phone was out. So I just wanted something to listen to while I was driving to work for an hour plus. And songs are not that expensive. It's like you can get a song usually for about $1 and some change because it's just an MP3 file. It's not, you know, anything big. Uh, let's see here. There should be a section about purchased. Of course, these phones are always so weird when they display things. But it's been like several months, if not longer, since I bought a movie or a show or anything on there. I've been just looking at stuff like, yeah, yeah, there's something I could own, but got to eat this week. Mm. There was a convention I turned down going to back in, I think it was September, or yeah, around like the latter part of the year, because it was such a far drive, and also like the idea of, going out there, probably spending about $100 altogether to get a picture with somebody and to drive all the way, and tickets, and you do all that stuff, and then you come back, and real life's hardships resume, right? Everybody's got their hand out for some money from you. Oh man, they have it to where you can pre-order Venom 3 for $25. Of course, I wouldn't pre-order it for $5, but whatever. I think it's funny. It's like this movie is like it's crappy, and it costs more than the other big movie that came out a few months ago that made way more money and that people actually like were excited to have on digital. I just find that amusing. How have I been? Well, pretty pissed off at Jem. I mean, here's a guy who says he wants me to do documentaries, and then you do them, and he can never leave a comment. And then when you say, "Hey, look, can you leave a comment on this?" He goes, "Oh no, I'm very busy, and I'm the busiest man in the world, and I can't leave a comment on any of your stuff." And then he leaves comments on other stuff, and you're like, "What in the world's going on?" So I'm that's how I am. I mean, I don't even want to make FDR Part Two if I know Part One's never going to have any comments written on it. That doesn't make any sense to me. Ugh. See, I'm very disappointed. I used to believe in you, but not anymore. Yeah, yeah. I'm extremely busy too. You know that like the people who make stuff on this site work as well, right? You have like what is that, 4 videos to comment on: LBJ Part 5, Part 6, Nixon Part 1, Nixon Part 2. Not on this level. Oh, I didn't know you were married. Yeah. Well, my thing is just don't tell me you're gonna do something then not do it. When I say I'm gonna do stuff, I try to actually go through with it. Hell, the only reason I haven't done Johnson Part 7 is because I have like 5 books I'm trying to use for that thing. Oh man. I got his wife's memoir right here. I still haven't read through the whole thing. Oh. And then you got Jack Valenti's book. His picture on the back. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's I'm having to siphon through to be able to make this. No, by the time I'm through with it, Johnson Part 7 is probably going to be 2 hours long because it is information from 5 books. I've got his papers cited in there. Oh. Of course, I'm gonna try to put Lady Bird in there. How could I forget her? She's the one that started First Lady's writing memoirs. This is the best book of the year. All covered up with me trying to kill that thing a few days ago. But yeah, that's your favorite book from the whole year, right there. Your woman. See, I was saying when I did my video on her that this is like evidence that she thinks Trump is going to lose because you're going to write a memoir about the time that you were first lady. But if you thought your husband was going to win, wouldn't you wait until his second term is done and then add information from that? I guess it's her trying to strike while the iron is hot. Nothing personal against her, but you know that was ghostwritten. Well, of course. Most of these people don't actually write their own stuff. I'm serious. You could count the number of politicians that write their own things on like one hand. Carter, Nixon, very few of them actually write their own craft. That is obvious. Oh no, he wrote some book on all the presidents, and like it had like really poor citations. Like someone showed where he quoted something that President Obama did in 2004, but then Obama wasn't even president in 2004 or 6 or whatever year he was citing. It is garbage, man. That's a pretty morbid thing to say about somebody. I can't believe you are still alive. Like, damn, all right, I'm sorry I haven't killed over yet. I'll get ready to find my obituary and have somebody type it up. Oh, oh man. Well, what do you expect of someone that's 100 years old? I mean, I don't quite understand. A little confused by what you thought he would look like at that age. And that's way different. Feinstein was a sitting U.S. senator. Like the hell. If she had been up in the retirement home, you know, looking the way that she did, nobody would care. Mm. I saw where you were sitting over there complaining about me streaming that this time or that time. Like, man, listen, when you get off at almost 11 o'clock at night and you're not really tired, I'm not gonna try to like go to sleep and then wake up at 7 or 8. No, I'm just gonna just start this thing, talk for a little bit, get it over with, and then go back to then actually go to sleep for real. No, you just keep criticizing me. And I said, if you don't like what I make, you don't have to watch me. I'm very sincere when I say that. I'm not no one's forcing you to have to check out any of my stuff. I feel like I'm not asking much from you. I didn't think asking people to leave comments was such a hard thing, but I can see that it is. So if you want to get mad at me, go ahead. If you want to boycott the channel, fine by me. Tongue in cheek. No, I saw what you wrote. Or they're trying to put me down. Yeah. I bet if it was AOC streaming at 3 a.m., you'd be right there. Like, hey. And you'll sit here criticizing somebody. You'll sit here criticizing somebody and then never give any adulation for their hard work. Oh, not AOC, but if it was MTG or Christy Noam, if she was teaching you how to murder animals, you would be like, oh yeah, sign me up. Man, people will like they'll never understand the amount of work that goes into this stuff until they've done it themselves. Because I have the script for Nixon Part 3. That thing is so long, I might have to split it into 2 videos. Like on the one hand, that'll mean that Part 3 and Part 4 would come out theoretically back to back or like not that far apart from each other. But on the other, it's like you'll watch Pelosi 24/7. That's how inspiring she is to you. That's the kind of hypnotic control that she has on your mind. You see her, and it's like the world stops. I might have to get a new pair of pants too. I mean, if you're saying 2032 in terms of her being in the ground, probably. Oh yeah, you never. I just realized you've been away from my streams for so long and never appearing and trying to dodge when I put up a video. You probably don't know, but they got rid of her a month ago. At the end of September, I was no, it was the first day of October rather. I was inside this freezer, and the manager came in there and he was like, "Hey, I'm looking for you." I was like, "Oh, what?" He's like, "Oh, they got rid of her." I was like, "Really?" And then he told me, "Oh yeah, they're all her absences and tardies added up, and they had to toss her." And I was like, You're not messing with me? Who else would I be talking about? Like, come on." Yes, mixed signals queen, whatever you want to call her. She's history. I couldn't believe it after I really thought she had plot armor and she could just do whatever she wanted, but it all finally came to rain down on her. And I took no shortage of joy in seeing someone who tried to get me fired get themselves fired by their lack of attendance. Well, yeah, I told you she made me look like the biggest liar and fool in the history of the state of California. Like my friend, he said if he when he is finished with all of his work, his different assignments he does at his job, he's going to put together a book on me, and the title will be "The Biggest Liar and Fool in the History of the State of California." That's going to be the title. I have my picture right on the cover, and then when we get to the section on her, it'll show where that's how I got that nickname. I remember when it happened. You were like, oh, she's gonna try to get you in trouble. And then when I mentioned that it did, you were just going around laughing. You're like, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. That was you. I still can't believe it. You are not to blame. You were being friendly. Well, I mean, that was the ultimate confirmation to me that you can get in trouble over anything, or at least have some stupid woman try to accuse you of doing something to her over anything. And in her mind, bet she's still blaming you. I don't try to psychoanalyze these people. They're too stupid for that. I just know that you have to be really insane to. I mean, like that's one of the reasons why I just don't bother with chicks most often. Just they get caught up in stuff that I don't have the patience for, and you would never see happen with a guy. You're not going to see me ask a guy, "Hey, you want to go see a movie?" And then he says yes, and then stands me up, and then gets mad at me for being mad. It's stupid stuff, and that's again, this only exists with these dumb chicks. To hell with her mom. To hell with her mom. To hell with her. To hell with her supposed miscarriage. All of it. Every last bit of it. I don't care. When you try to mess up my livelihood, then that's no good. You don't get any sympathy from me. I like to consider myself to not be a vindictive person, but once you piss me off, that is it. Are you serious? I know you didn't just type that insanity in my chat. I know you did not just actually type that to me. No, that was some sob story she told one of the guys up there that was trying to get make some pass at her that she had a miscarriage by some ex-boyfriend, and I was just thinking to myself, man, God is merciful because I couldn't imagine someone like that being a mother. You can't even show up to your job on time, but you're gonna have a kid. Give me a break. I would think having a job would be easier than being a parent, but I guess not. Think how crazy it is. You can have a baby, but you can't like man. You can try attempt to have a baby, but you can't show up to your job on time. Kind of it seems a little backwards to me, but whatever. Do I have everything here? Let me see. Passage of Power, Dalek's book, the two right here, and then is it really 5 books or is it four? Hmm. No, I just know when we're done here, I'm gonna get something to eat because I am starving. I am malnourished. If that place opened up earlier, I would absolutely go there. Oh, I'm not gonna starve myself for 2 hours for them. She's the kind of chick that I would clear being that I would cheer. Oh, that I would cheer being. Oh, okay. Yeah, she doesn't gain any sympathy for me. So when I found out that news, I called everybody. I called two different relatives and told them that it happened. I told my friend. All I wrote to him was "she's gone," and he knew who I was talking about. Wait, what did you write? When am I going to do a documentary on Civil War American hero Robert E. Lee? I don't know. You understand, like my scope is pretty limited to what I have the stuff to do, right? Like just what stuff I already have. I You said you didn't ask that, you demanded it. You're demanding a Robert E. Lee documentary. Oh yeah, well, the only thing preventing me from doing Grant is that the just being busy with other stuff, but and also just not having the books. Like I could get Ron Chernow's book, which I've been told is very definitive. That one and another. I'm forgetting who the other author is, but um, I wouldn't be against doing him. I'm gonna have to dispute you on that one. He prosecuted the Klan. You can't be too weak to do that. It's crazy to think that no president after Grant like directly went after the Ku Klux Klan until Johnson. It's really insane to think about. That's like 80, 90 years of just whoever's in the White House being like, oh yeah, whatever. He was no Lincoln. Well, who the hell was Lincoln? I mean, if we were to like sit here and go through all the presidents after probably Jackson, all the way to Lincoln, with the exception of maybe Polk, and then all the ones between Lincoln and Roosevelt, TR, you're probably not going to find that many that are Lincoln like or are seen as being as good as him. I mean, that's why I did Johnson first, because I felt that out of any modern president, he was the one that got the most just just crappy treatment in spite of having the biggest amount of accomplishments. In Nixon's case, it's a little bit different where I'm he's extremely timely, because if Harris is able to win the presidential election, she'll be the second president born in California after him, and she's VP, he was VP, just little stuff that tracks. That's a failure of people knowing American history. I'm telling you, I know people who have gone to who have graduated from high school and in some cases college, and they don't know who LBJ was. Like, literally. Mm. Mm. It's pretty embarrassing, man. Like, it's sad to know that they know who Martin Luther King is, they know who Kennedy is only because they heard of the assassination, but they don't know who became president after that. Yeah, I mean, it's why do you think I made it the thumbnail for part 6? His entire term as VP was leading to that. The fact that you spend what is it, a little bit under 3 years as the understudy to this president that really doesn't use you that much. You're excommunicated by the same Senate that you used to run. It's just an extremely low period for him, and you get like these little sparks of his old instincts, like with the Memorial Day speech, and then it all culminates in him being sworn in and enacting, what is it, all 200 new laws in 6 years. Well, again, part 7 is supposed to just be the year of 1964, and what's interesting is that when he's running against Goldwater, he's crushing him at every point. Goldwater's just getting tarnished, smacked up in polling, but they did polls that showed, and it wasn't a majority, but there was like a higher percentage of people. How do I explain it? So Goldwater trailed Johnson in all polls just from the time the race started, but there was a poll that was done specifically on like, who do you trust to handle Vietnam more, and Goldwater had a slightly higher percentage, still under Johnson, but like he went up a little bit more, and that was like part of what was leading Johnson to be like, yeah, we got to make this a non-issue and just keep it in the back burner. Well, like I said, part 7 is gonna have like must be 5 or 6 different recordings of them in there, so that's why it's taking so long. It's gonna be a lot of stuff, and I just don't want to rush through any of it. I'm using print sources with New York Times, again, the American Presidency Project, 4 books. There was a fifth one I was trying to get, but I think I might pass on it or come back to it later. Because, like I said, the goal is that if I actually finish this thing, then I would just stick all the parts in one big giant, and like two big giant videos that are both probably like 5 or 6 hours long or 7. Yeah, I'm just fascinated by how his tenure is so interesting in terms of just the was it the chronological nature of it all, where you get this first year in office with nothing but goodwill. You get the Civil Rights Act, right? Inarguably the most significant law having to do with blacks in in damn near 100 years. And throughout this year, right, Goldwater's trying, but he just can't make a dent. Gets lopsided across the entirety of the U.S., barring the South. And then you get his actual first year as president, like as an elected person. Medicare, Medicaid, right? Two major landmark laws. Vietnam is still kind of like brewing in the background, but by the time you get to like 66 and 67, it just sweeps him entirely. Just all encompassing. But no, that's why I'm trying, because this is so again, like in my mind, it's gonna be part 7 is 64, part 7 is 65, and then excuse me, part 7, 64, part 8, 65, part 9, part 10, part 11. And the idea is that it's supposed to be, with Vietnam, it's a slow burn, right? The big things from part 7 are the Gulf of Tonkin, and how this is basically Congress giving Johnson the right to do whatever he wants over there without their approval. And how, when you're doing the next part, there's like a little bit of rumblings, but as you just get further and further into the presidency and all this crazy stuff is happening over there, it just explodes on it. And that's really what I'm trying to convey. And that's why I hate so much that Caro still hasn't like finished volume 5 of his series. Cause one thing I always think about was how Taylor Branch said history is a story. And I'm really attempting to, again, convey the idea of the president who starts their tenure with almost universal support, goodwill, and it all just comes crashing and crumbling down. Hoping I can finish this damn video by the end of the year, but if I'm not able to, then we'll just take this in the next year. It's no big deal. Oh, man. I know she got real quiet after I showed your favorite woman's book right there. Don't worry, I'll show it again later. You got real silent. You probably were jealous I was holding such a sacred artifact. Oh, you want to see something cool? So, like I said, I don't, when I show you stuff, it's not me trying to flex or anything. I don't know if you can see that. I did not order a copy with that specifically in mind. It just came that way, and I was like, all right, whatever, I'll take it. Yeah, it's I tell you the same thing happened with Carrie Lake where I bought her book and then I saw her the damn gold handwriting on the front. I was like, what is this? And then I saw where she did a book signing and just it was crazy to me to like someone went and got this signed and then was like, I don't want this anymore. And then you just like order it on Amazon and get a signed copy just by happenstance. Like, okay, I guess I'll take it, whatever. I mean, you say that, but I saw your campaign contributions. You donate to her over and over again. You said Arizona needs a lake. I almost want to do that as a joke, like buy one of her. And of course, the campaign is almost over, but it'd be fun to like buy a hat and just have it like wear it. Like, I can't believe Kerry lost. I thought the polls were lying. If it wasn't damn near $40 for a hat, I probably would get one just as a joke. She's the most prominent politician to come out of Arizona since McCain. So don't even play. I'm saying her and Noam and MTG are hilarious to me because they spent like at the start of this year, I really thought one of them had a chance to be Trump's VP, and they all squandered it. You know, Lake with all her incessant Mar-a-Lago trips, Noam with her dog killing story, and then MTG with just being MTG, right? The whole getting rid of McCarthy as speaker and then admitting that she doesn't care if they have to go through multiple speakers. So it's really tacky on her part. And she's not useless. She is going to help the Democratic Party get stronger in Arizona, and I'm all ready for it. Like let's do it. Trump might actually like it's. I'm not even being funny. Trump might win Arizona, and she'll lose that Senate seat. So like there will be Republicans that vote for Trump. They're like, I don't need like a senator. And you know that's not the way it's supposed to go. It's supposed to be that if whoever wins the state, usually their party is helped, like down ballot. Because that's basically the reverse what happened in Maine in 2020, where even though Collins kept her Senate seat, Biden won the election. So there were a lot of Democrats or even like independents that voted for Biden, right? The Democrat Biden as president, and the Republican Collins as senator. She's like, well, she said that Hillary was going to put her on a hit list. I don't know if you ever saw that clip. She was like, my brakes on my car are working. I'm not depressed. And I said to myself, you have to be really delusional to think like as a Senate candidate, the lady that was, I mean, I don't like Hillary, but I mean, like just the idea of you believe as a Senate candidate, an unsuccessful candidate for governor, that a former first lady, a former senator, a former secretary of state, a presidential nominee is like, "Mwahaha, I am going after Carrie Lake." Man, just pure delusion. Well, Lake has succeeded in doing that. I mean, how many other failed candidates are we talking about like this? How many people still talk about Roy Moore? Exactly. That's because the only two politicians from Alabama that matter are George Wallace for obvious reasons, and Katie Britt because she's going to be the 2028 Republican nominee. Everybody else is irrelevant. Cruz is sitting over there screaming about his Senate seat. I'd like for that guy that's running against him to win, but I don't think he will. Texas it's maybe someday it'll switch, but I just don't think it'll be this year. Unfortunately. Maybe I'll give his opponent $1. Well, he was in a tight race back in 2018, and it still wasn't enough to get rid of him. I think something's going to happen. Either Cruz is going to get reelected this time, and then maybe lose in 6 more years when there's more younger voters and just like different demographic groups that are more likely to vote for Democrats, or by some complete miracle he'll lose this time, and then his opponent will probably. I don't even know. I think probably the Democrats will be like even if they get that Senate seat there, I don't see them like winning a governor race over there. They haven't had a Democrat as governor there in 30 years. Yeah, you're talking about Allred. Cruz has done that. No, I agree. Well, actually, you're incorrect. Cruz has. You know that Cruz has 3 YouTube channels. He has his Senate account where he posts his Senate speeches. His his media account where it's just him going on these different shows, and he has account for his stupid podcast. Complaining all the time. No, I'm not saying he's good. I'm just explaining that I think it's insane. Oh no, he has 4 books. He had the one he wrote when he was running for president, which I did read and whatever. And then he has some like book about unwoke and all the rest of it. He's written like 3 of them in the last 4 years. To me, he just seems like he has too much time on his hands. Like, how the hell are you a U.S. senator, but you can write all these books and you're able to host a Well, yeah, that's what I said. Like his Senate seat is just that's what he's there for, just to make money for himself. To hell with the people of Texas. The second largest state in the union, and that is their senator. No, my point I'm making is even if you thought the books were ghostwritten, that is him doing that podcast. You can go watch The Verdict with Ted Cruz, and that you see him sitting there in that chair talking for 40 minutes, 50, however much time, that thing goes on for. And he is awful. But I don't think he's going to lose, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to be incorrect. I tell you, man, my biggest dream for this year was to go to Texas and visit all the different libraries out there. And I just having to pay all this crap every month, man, it really demoralizes you. Because I said, what's the point of working if you don't have any money to do any of the stuff you actually want to do, Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm sincere when I ask that question. What's the point if you can't have the things you want? Let me see what this looks like with the light on. Oh, yeah, it's crappy. Never mind. Turn back on. I was wondering what the lighting was. Forgot that when it's cloudy like this, you're not going to get that much sunlight, because even though the sun is technically in here, it still is not, bright or anything. Oh man. Oh, that stupid thing is back on. Ugh. We're not here for your looks, just your commentary. No, you were talking trash about my appearance at one point. I remember, infamously. But no, one of these days we'll get around to covering your favorite first lady, Melania, way more than we normally do. I just have to finish, this other stuff. Also, I know you wanted me to do an audiobook for her book where I read the whole thing just chapter by chapter. I just have to get the time to do it. So when I get the time, I'll be able to just go through it. Even though, in all seriousness, I would like to. I simply asked about you. Yeah, why does it matter? It's irrelevant. But I said I'll probably, if there was a book I would read through the whole thing of, it probably would be Master of the Senate, the Robert Caro third volume of his LBJ series, that 1,000-page epic. Yeah, it's always the people who hide their face talk about what somebody else is wearing. That's the trend I picked up on. But no, we'll do more Melania content because I know you love her. She's everything you'd like in a potential partner. When you see her photos, sometimes you just can't think straight. I mean, hey, he's retiring, so he will be gone soon. Not like anyone that's decent is going to take his place, but whatever. Well, she's not just a nice person. She's like a god to you. She's your favorite first lady. You got all her pictures, and you pre-ordered. You paid $200 for a white copy of her memoir. Man, that was the weirdest thing to me. Like, just the fact that they charged, I think it was 70 for an autograph copy, and then like 200 for the version of it that was white and like slightly bigger. It was so weird. I'll give her credit for one thing. Her book was a bestseller, which I cannot say for MTG's book. That thing sold no copies. Not really, Jim. I mean, it's been a historical trend for first ladies to write a book after they leave the White House. And I even mentioned that in my video. Every last one of them has done that since Lady Bird Johnson, except for Pat Nixon. Like, all the ones after her, except Pat, have written one. So it's like a thing they just do. I will say I'm surprised that she would put one out when she did, because I assumed she would wait until to see if her husband would get another term and then go after that. I will not reading the last four. What last four? Oh well, uh, I mean, look, I'm no fan of Jill's whatever to me. I don't think much of her one way or the other. I did like Michelle's book, which sold I think 2 million copies, and I really liked Laura's book. Her book and Nancy's were probably my favorites out of any of them. I just like how candid Nancy's book was, where she just admitted that she had a bad relationship with her kids. You said the last four. I was like, what last four? like, what? Yeah, man, I'm just trying to make things work. Sometimes it can be hard to just read stuff and pull all the information down. Tuesday is going to be a long day. I don't think we're going to know who won the election for it's going to be like 2020. Remember where it took like 3 days to figure out who came out on top. I think it'll be pretty similar to that where it's going to be really close in key, you know, in like the swing states and we probably won't figure it out until like Friday or something. Of course Trump will come out and say that he won, but still. Damn, Florida. Yeah, I think Trump's going to win Florida. It's going to be like I think I'm not even trying to be funny. I think Harris has a higher chance of winning Texas than Florida. I think Florida's done. The only 4 southern states where Harris has a snowball's chance in hell of catching some fire are uh, Georgia and North Carolina. Oh, we have her book too. It's over there somewhere in that corner. Yeah, that's why I said North Carolina. Maybe VA. Yeah, okay. I did forget about Virginia for a second. I'll concede there because if I remember correctly, Clinton and Biden both won Virginia. Again, that's just I'm going off my memory. I don't know if I'm correct or not. She has 0 policy choices. Well, you know what? She may have 0 policy choices, but she got a lot of she got zeros and zeros of donations. People were just giving all this money. She's Biden 2.9. I was like, why? What? 2.9. Well, like I said, man, whatever feelings you have towards her, I just don't want Trump. I do not want him. I don't care what you say. I've been sick of him since 2016, and we're on his third run. And I want this crazy ride to be over. I want the Trump trilogy to end with him losing this election and finally, you know, giving it up. She honestly slapped Trump around. Well, yeah, that's why he doesn't want to do it again. That's why he was like, I will debate anyone. Okay, never mind. Him mentioning cats and dogs being eaten was it for me. Like I said, this whole campaign has been him just like, dude, his running mate is insane. Like I'm not even trying to be facetious or funny. I think Vance is insane. What man, what candidate in their right mind says, "Oh yeah, childless cat ladies, yeah, these people that don't have children." You said, why would he even say? Why would Vance even say that? I could say the same thing about him. Like, they're that's what I'm saying. Like, if Harris and Walz lose this election, they're gonna go down as like the dumbest people in the world because they have been given a silver platter of buffoons to campaign against who are just sticking their foot in their mouth. So if they lose, it's more a poor showing on them than their opponents. They're running for president on easy mode. Yeah, I really don't like the guy at all. Oh yeah, Palin was on. I still wouldn't find that as a dude. Like saying you can see Russia from wherever you live is still nowhere near as bad as let me insult people who don't have children in an era where more and more people are not having children. That's like me going out and saying everyone that doesn't have a college degree is a complete buffoon who probably wants to do nasty things with their cousin. It's like, look, like most people don't have these pieces of paper. So like, what are you saying? And it's not even the only thing he said like that. He was mock insulting the lady that leads the teachers union for not having kids. That's why I said that guy is just weird, man. I want to stay away from him and his running mate. At least Trump can be funny. Vance is just, ugh. But yeah, hopefully this ticket can get knocked down and then Jem can go to Harris's inauguration in January. And then while he's waiting in his hotel room, he can stream Barbie for the 100th time. That'll be the good scenario. No, I saw you have a copy of it. Not even a copy, copies. You have the digital copy on your hard drive, your device. You can watch anywhere you want, and you have a physical copy of it that you keep at your place under your pillow for good luck. Dude, she really has dropped from prominence. Like I barely hear anything from her. But yeah, she's running for her Senate seat for another term of, wagging your finger at billionaires, but then backing all the people that they support. All the usual grandstanding. Damn, outside looks terrible. This is a dreary looking day, man. I can already tell my car windows all fogged up. Oh my god. Trust me, if I pointed the camera outside, you would not see sun. It is a little bit under 9 in the morning, right? 8 something, and there is no sun to be had. But no, I was saying that Palin was on News Nation with I think Bill O'Reilly, and she had some. I didn't get to see the clip because I just like saw the thumbnail, but apparently she got into some kind of spat on there. I'd have to watch it later. I'm still laughing at her running for that House seat and losing to a Democrat in like her home state. Like that was peak pathetic. Like imagine being governor of a state, right? And then you run for a House seat, and not even like a House seat in like a district that leans towards the other party, but like the House seat of the state, and you can't pull it off. I maintain what I said about her in my video. If she had just gotten some good advisors who could coach her on like not saying stupid things and served out her whole 8 year her whole term as governor, I really think she would have had a chance to be Trump's running mate in 2016. I am dead serious. If she altered her image after 2008 and got 2 terms as governor and just focused on fixing her state, and maybe she says something about Obama every now and again, I really believe that she would have been Trump's running mate in 2016 because she endorsed him before a majority of his own damn party backed him. She was an early person on the Trump train. And a lot of the other people who did that same thing, like Sessions over there in Alabama, they were rewarded for their early support of him. Like Trump picked Haley as his UN ambassador because her lieutenant governor endorsed him very early on, and he wanted to reward him by making him governor before the election. Like I said, you say that, but I don't think Pence is any better. The hell? If Pence is so great, why isn't he Trump's running mate now? Exactly. But you're gonna sit there on the Pence train. Well, Haley at the time was not as well known as Palin, but also you remember she endorsed Rubio in that South Carolina primary. So he was never going to pick her because she wasn't sufficiently loyal to him. And Christie, even though he ended up joining the Trump train after he quit his own campaign, he never had a chance because one, he ran against him, but also the whole thing of prosecuting Kushner's daddy. Oh no, Rubio didn't have a Rubio especially didn't have a chance after 2016 because Trump's residence has changed to Florida, so he can't have a running mate in the same state as him. Him and the sanctimonious. That was funny that he apparently didn't want to pick Bolton for national security advisor because he didn't like his mustache. I wish he would have stuck with that and not picked him, period. But we ended up getting him later on. I'm telling you, that guy, that is a dangerous man. I'm not even trying to be funny. If I had to go through and name all the politicians I just despise, like not even like just political figures of the last 20, 30 years, like since I've been following this stuff, Bolton's got to be in like the bottom 5. That guy is horrible. Picking him for anything was just, I don't know what Bush 43 or Trump were thinking. It's just he is just walking, talking poison. Oh yeah, they interview him all the time to trash Trump. Well, I mean, hey, there's a lot of evil old men, but this is one who they just can't seem to let go of. Like he was UN ambassador, and then you think he's done, right? He's writing his little books, he's talking trash about Obama, and then Trump picks him for national security advisor, where he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna, go and have regime change in Iran." Just he's a really bad guy. I'm serious. If he more than most other politicians or people in this like just the realm of this stuff, I really despise. Like there's almost nothing good there. It's all just this vapid destruction and like everybody always talks about Kissinger was so evil. Like look at Bolton. Whatever. You're dealing with some villains. Henry is much better than oh. Yeah, I mean at least you could say with Kissinger he was involved with restoring relations with China, which is like an actual good thing relating to peace around the world. Bolton has no record of achievements that has been in any way productive towards international relations at all. The guy is just a demonic position, just monster, man. Oh, that's why I said he's just a sick bastard. And I'm just happy that he's theoretically not going to be anywhere near power. Although I guess I shouldn't say that because him and Trump could always mend fences. Just talking points to scare Americans. I'll never forget when he was on, I think it was CNN, he was like, well, a ceasefire is basically pro Hamas. I'm like, what? Saying that you want people to stop attacking each other is pro one side over the other? That's why I said, man, he is just bloodthirsty, and Trump is done with him. Yeah. Well, I thought Trump was done with Haley, and then she speaks at the RNC, and like he hasn't campaigned with her, and she's thirsting to campaign for him. But you get the idea that like I've thought he was finished with people, just like with that what's that lady's name? What's the lady? The Loomer. Like I thought he was like I don't know where he just started hanging around that lady. But she was going to all these different events with him. He had his arms all around her. So every time I think he's finished with these people, they have a way of coming back or clawing themselves back to relevance. Still think it's crazy to see the Cheneys endorsing Harris and campaigning with her. And like I said, man, if you go back to the early to like that 2006, 7, 8, right? Would you have ever thought you'd live to see the day where Cheney is like being heralded by the Democrats? It is nuts. I don't know what bizarro world we're living in. Because I remember when he was a pariah, him and Bush. It doesn't make any sense. And, Bush is still not well liked. That's why he won't go to the RNC anymore, right? All these conventions, he doesn't go to them. That's why, you know, he's not involved with his party. He is their only living former president besides Trump. And while Trump is heralded and they're trying to stick him back in the White House, you would almost forget that Bush even was president because they just never invoke him. They never talk about him. They never try to get his endorsement. He is still, was it 14, 15, 16 years after leaving office, just a failure, like just something that they'd like to move away from. But it's funny because it's like, Clinton got a lot of flack during that Me Too stuff, right? But they've been pulling him out back a lot more in recent years. He had the fundraiser with Obama and Biden, and then of course, they brought him to the White House a few times for some. I guess it was a portrait unveil. So he shows up every now and again, and is like still doing stuff. And he's got some new book that they're promoting. With Bush, he has been just completely ignored by his own party. They don't like him at all. He's nothing. No, I know people are still bitter about the wars, but I'm just explaining to you that what you've seen with Bush is something that you haven't really seen. Like, it's like, dude, like you know that if you go back and look at old historical sources, it didn't take long for Carter after leaving the White House to be visible again. Same thing with Ford. Same thing with Nixon. Bush is the only one who I can think of, right? Out of office for over 10 years, and mostly he might write a book, maybe give an interview here or there, but for the most part, he's like to himself while everybody else is doing their stuff, which I find really interesting. That's why I said of any of the presidents from my lifetime, he is the one I want to do a documentary on the most because I don't want what he did to ever be forgotten. I'm just saying I've never seen a former president just have like nothing to do with their party at all. Oh yeah, Ford and Carter both had principles. I'm just explaining that it's surreal to me how much of a pariah he still is. Like they don't. I'm not. If you go to the RNC, if you were to just watch that and like have been born, let's say you're like 10, right, or 15, you would really think that this part, like it had just been Democrats as president since the 90s, and Trump was like the first Republican to win in like 20 or 30 years. Like they don't talk about Bush at all. They don't invoke him. They don't they don't look for his endorsement. Like I remember when Romney was running against Obama, he craved H.W. Bush's endorsement. He went to him, he asked him for it. He spoke, he was photographed with him, right? All the rest of that stuff. But with the son, with W, they don't want nothing to do with you. But I'm saying he's got this pariah status that the other ex-presidents have, like in recent times anyway, have never had. Like he is basically a modern day Herbert Hoover. I'm just imagining the Bush documentary. I tell you, the older Bush was the most recent president that I liked. Right, stood up to Israel, banned assault weapons, which cost him the endorsement from the NRA. Actually signed bills to help with the environment. He really is one of the few, like I'm not kidding. I wish he beat Clinton in '92. If any Republican president from the last probably like 50 years deserved a second term, it was him. And let's not forget, the fact that he presided over the end of the Soviet Union. He was a very smart, very adept, very experienced diplomat. Truthfully, of any of the hmm, yeah, I would say of any of the presidents after FDR, the one that had the foreign policy I liked the most of was, if it wasn't Carter, it was probably the older Bush. And I really do think that if his son had not been president in such a screw up, then people would like him more. Like if he was able to have himself gotten the second term and not had a son who eclipsed him in every conceivable way, he would be more remembered in his own right as like decent. Oh man. Ugh. I guess the sun will come out this afternoon at some point during the day. Mm, mm. And look, if you want to sit here and talk about appearance, you're gonna have to show your face. This whole thing of these guys that have the account where they hide everything but talk about the way everybody else looks, I think it's nuts. And yes, I know my hair isn't as good as Melania's. I know that you don't like me because I can't speak 5 languages, or I'm not a former model, or I don't have some significant other that's like 20 something years older than me. I know. I mean, hey, if you want to. Hmm. Like I said, man, Tuesday is going to be a hell of a day. My only regret is that I have to work. because I would absolutely sit there glued to the computer and just observing this stuff. Let's see, what time do I get off? Okay, 8 p. Yeah, so I'll get off before, like around the time that polls will start closing, and they can get a little bit of the results in. You said she is your type? You never met a woman that was more attractive to you? I really hope Harris is able to carve this out because I just, oh God, if we have Trump again, man, it is going to be a nightmare. Do I stream a Zoom session? No. I know you've really been missing Melania. You can't wait to have her back in the White House. And not just her, but Ivanka and Eric and Don Jr. and Barron and Tiffany and all the rest of them. No, I've never streamed Zoom before. I mean, I just turn on the stream live the live option on here to do it. There's a way to do it. I used to have streams on what's that thing called? It might have been Google Hangouts, but I used to do it on there for a while. Daylight saving time is going to be over tomorrow, right? We're either going to gain an hour or lose an hour, one or the other. I don't even know their names. I'm surprised they're everywhere. I'm telling you, at this point, Trump might as well just adopt what's that girl, Laura, the wife of his. I think that's Eric's wife. Yeah, because I see her with him more than his own, than his actual son. Maybe in the new year, get the video going. Man, I just have too much other stuff I'm preoccupied with. Like I'm trying to do these two big giant documentaries. We're trying to start a bunch of other ones. You want the Robert E. Lee documentary, so we're gonna, there's just so many other things to be preoccupied with. You're just gonna have to wait. Wait, what? Who are you talking? Oh, Laura. I mean, I know well, maybe I shouldn't say anything because I don't want them to get me in trouble, but I don't think the back area is not real. Um, the lips do kind of look a little because I saw this one lady who like lives down the street, and she, without a shadow of a doubt, has had plastic surgery, and man, like you should see it. The lips are so big, and the backside, it's like right. It doesn't look natural at all, man. Because you know what it is when someone has like a large backside, it's proportionate to the rest of their body. Like you can just see where, like the top part is big, so then the bottom part is going to be. She has like this, like a skinny top, like up here, right, and then the it's like down here. Oh, it doesn't. It looks so just not real. Oh my god. Listen, there is CGI in movies from 20 years ago that looks more real than what she did to herself. Oh boy. Man, if you live somewhere like here, I think I'd be more prioritizing of trying to get out of here than, you know, plastic surgery. It looks, yeah, man, awful, horrendous. I mean, it is. I don't know how anybody can even just want to look that way. I don't get it. Just like the people at my job with the tattoos, where you had the one girl who had the spider right on her arm, and now there's a new guy that works there, and he has a tattoo that's so ridiculous. I didn't even think it. I had to double take. I was like, what? Um, you might not know what I'm talking about, but there's like this thing where it's like an imprint of a kiss, it's where if a woman were like, let's say, wear some red lipstick and like kiss you on the forehead or whatever, and like it leaves the imprint of it. He has that tattooed on the top part of his head, like right around here. I mean, I don't like them either, but they're getting more and more absurd, dude. If you saw some of the stuff these people have at this job, it is insane. Only pirates and sailors. I mean, hey, one girl has a tattoo of a cross right behind her ear. It looks like a damn anchor. Two of them do. One of them has a black cross right here. The other one has a red cross. Could you imagine just like every day, just like waking up? Oh, here's that spider on my arm. What's up? Hi, spider. Hi, hi, cross. Like I wear a cross doesn't mean I would actually, have one on me. People are just so weird. They get the dumbest stuff, man. It's so strange. Like of all the things you could have, why the imprint of a kiss on like the top of your head? Like what in the world possessed you? I just the logic escapes me. I'm sorry, I hate to judge, but I can't. I mean, I don't like them either. They do a lot of weird things that I'll never understand. Mm. So I'm just wondering, do you think we're gonna know who won by the end of Tuesday or no? Like by the time Tuesday is up? Or will this be something that drags out for a few days? A lot of are getting them too. I mean, that place is mostly Hispanics and whites, and I mean, I just think it's like an age thing where it seems like a lot of these people who have them are like barely legal or in their 20s, or it's a thing where they're just all doing that fad. We will know by 3 a.m. I don't I don't know, man, because in a lot of the states that one or the other needs to win to just take it home, they are trailing each other neck and neck. And you've got these mail-in ballots that aren't going to be voted or counted rather until after a few days. So I guess it could happen theoretically, right? But I don't know. I just think it's going to be another close one. We know Florida will be late. I'm brimming with excitement. Oh. Mm. I'm very enthusiastic. Oh, I can't wait to see who wins. I just want Harris to be more focused on American issues. Forget about Israel. But Israel has a right to defend itself. Dude, the only issue that she really talks about is Roe v. Wade and just anything having to do with reproductive rights. Like she's not it's sad, man. It really is. Because if you criticize her, like if I do a video and I criticize her, they accuse me of being a Trump supporter. And then if I do a video criticizing him, they say I'm, a Democrat. So it doesn't matter. You're either on one team or the other in these people's eyes. Very, very sad. Imagine like living in an era where like most people can't afford $1,000 emergency, where most people are living paycheck to paycheck, and the only thing you can talk about is your supposed opportunity economy, whatever the hell that means, and reproductive rights. I mean, you can have that opinion if you want, but to that I ask, who's not? Do you really think we would be better if it were um, any of the other people that it could be as the nominee? Like, if you were to travel back to 2020 and look at all the people that Biden could have had for VP, who would have been better? Well, other than Bernie, but still. I'm just saying. I'm wondering who would have been your alternative. Oh man, I agree. Our candidate pool is awful. Oh no, she wasn't going to get picked because the donors told him don't go with her. And remember, Biden, when he got endorsed by Clyburn, agreed to pick a woman that was a minority. Mm. Oh man. Ugh. Ah. I don't know. Maybe I'll go to Texas someday when I have two jobs and I can scrape that together with whatever I make off of here. Eventually, I'll be able to go to another state and have a vacation. And the world turns. Well, yeah, because I mean, look, I'm just telling you like it is. You're not going to get a change in policy on most of these international issues, unfortunately. You're going to see some more Israel bootlicking, some more Ukraine bootlicking. I mean, it's sad, but this is the way that they are. These are your choices. Billions, billions, billions. Again, imagine like richest country in the world, and it drives me insane. People, they condition themselves to just be part of this broken system. It's really sad, utterly insane. We are not a priority. No, I mean, I'm more concerned about enriching themselves and climbing up the damn ladder than actually doing something for people. Russian veterans get a home and a pension. Oh no, our veterans get to sit on the street corners and beg for money while they get ignored by most people, and then have some kind of psychological issues if they don't get killed overseas. I mean, I think the whole society just needs to be upended. We like I was talking about this before you came. You shouldn't have to work two jobs to just have a chance of survival. You shouldn't have people in the richest country in the world starving and being on the streets. Like it's nuts. I'm not even saying you have to have free housing, but it sure as hell should be way more affordable than it is. You're mad at me because I want to go on vacation once a year. How crazy is that? If out of 300 something days, I want to spend 5 of them in another state, that's too much. Just insane, dude. Well, that's why I said this whole system is just a failure. You should get a month off mandatory. Oh no, you get 5 little crappy days. I think that's every 6 months. Every what was it once a year? It's nuts. And I always thought that was funny at my job. You can get points if you don't come on time or if you don't show up at all. But then when they want you to stay longer, um, you fall in the trap of thinking you're going to get paid more money, and then they can just delete you off the schedule later in the week so they don't have to pay you overtime. I mean, they're increasing the retirement age as people are factually living shorter lifespans. I can't tell how many guys I've seen where they die at 50 and 60. They don't even make it to retirement age. I'm just asking, does it make any sense to work all these years and then you don't even get to retire, you just pass away? Oh well. Too bad. Should have lived longer. Yeah, it is absolutely insane. I blame the voters. Well, a lot of these people just don't know. Are they like the whole two-party system conditions you to believe if you vote for the other side, you will see some big, massive change. And you're not really supposed to think about what things are they going to keep in place with each other. Think about this. At the same time, as the minimum wage has not increased since 2009, at the same time as income equality has increased, the third to most recent US president, Obama, right, has become a millionaire several times over. He owns a home with 40 bedrooms. Same thing with Biden. Biden, when he was first elected VP, had a net worth of 27,000, and now he has like 5 million, 10 million. I mean, it's insane, dude. But it's like, what kind of world do you live in where the voters, they don't get any richer, they don't have any like big huge surge in money, but these politicians, they just, how's that work? Nothing changed in the last 29 years. It's a grift. I know you love Michelle, but when she gave that DNC speech talking about her parents taught her to be suspicious of people that take more than they need, it's like, lady, you're 100 millionaire. Don't try to come to us and act like you're. I, I mean, it is theater. It is theatrics. Could you imagine like it being a fact and something people could look up that you own millions of dollars and you go up to like random people in these poor neighborhoods and you're like, oh, look at what Trump is doing to us. Look what he's trying. It's like, okay, like if you want to say that I'm going to be screwed over, whatever, don't act like you're affected by this. You're not. We fall for it every election cycle. Not me. I mean, there are people that get so disenfranchised they just don't vote. Period. Which I don't. I've never subscribed to because it's like it doesn't cost you anything to vote. And I do think it's like you know what I'm saying of how I don't see where it's beneficial to uprooting the system to just not participate in it at all. You know, like if you don't want to vote for either the major party people, whatever. But you know what I'm saying of how you're no worse off um just participating. It'll be real fun to see how many votes Stein gets, and if she cracks 1 million, and they try to say that she's the reason Harris lost or whatever. That can be a nice little game we get to play for the next few months or years. Kamala would have won if it weren't for Chill. The Green Lady is so powerful. If she wasn't running, all the people that were sick of the Democrats would have backed them. So to me, that's hilarious that they like you saw the video and you tried to like say don't vote for that. I was actually defending her. I was saying she is there for a specific purpose, and as long as the other two candidates are not addressing that purpose, she's always going to have a collection of people who will back or support her position. If they didn't want her to have any kind of influence or sway, they would take her stances on things, and then she would be irrelevant. Dude, it'd be the funniest thing if she actually won Michigan. I would be laughing so hard. I would tell you the real reason that third party candidates don't really get anywhere, even when they run for president, has a lot to do with being blackballed by the media. So a lot of people don't even know who you are when you're running because they won't give you any attention. Because CNN and the rest of these horrible networks are trying to keep the two-party system afloat so they can retain access to the different politicians that represent them. But it's sad, man. Like I wish we had a third party. I really do. Now think about this. CNN will have town halls and Fox too, right? With candidates who are polling at 1%, 3%, 5%. But then you have this third party person, right? Who's at 10, 20, 30, and they will completely ignore them. Look, Stein is not some random lady that came out of nowhere. She's run for president multiple times in the past, has received hundreds of thousands of. I mean, it's insane to me that they just act like she doesn't exist. No, I'm not saying the town halls are not, but what I'm explaining to you is that the fact that they will host those with candidates who are not polling that well over third party ones who are many times polling higher shows you how full of crap they are in terms of like, oh, you don't meet the threshold. Like, no, you don't want me to meet the threshold. You don't want to talk to me. I'm serious. Like, what else could cause that? Just blatant pandering for the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Oh man, we have only 2 more months left of the year. I can't believe it. They control the views. Yeah, but they do that via suppression. See, they know that an ignorant populace is one that can be more easily controlled. They can be more susceptible to going along with whatever the status quo is, right? That's why, we were bringing this up because I was saying that like next year I wanted to do, Martin Luther King and the RFK like documentaries because next year's RFK's 100th birthday. A lot of people, when they invoke King, never talk about his opposition to Vietnam because that is antithetical to the U.S., war machine, the imperial system that we have. And there is a concern that if you preach or remind people that, they'll go, hey, well, why don't we do that with the current conflicts? And then I'll get more people motivated to be like, yeah, screw Ukraine, screw, you know, siding with Israel no matter what. Just like that's not teaching that view is antithetical to what is accepted by the people that run all this stuff. You want to call it the deep state or just like the uniparty, whatever term you want to use for it. And they didn't want you to know about it. I've had it with these wars. Me too. I'm sick of it as well. Like I said, these conflicts they cost us way too much money, way too many lives. And it's just sad, man. Like you drive on uh, like the U.S. has was a D plus in infrastructure. They don't have any money to fix these roads and bridges, right? But then they have money to send all. That's what I said. It's all insane. And people still fall for it. They believe it. That was funny when you first came to the stream. You're like, I've had so many things happen. I have a new baby and a new house and a new job. And then you looked at that copy of Becoming by Michelle Obama and a new autograph, new signature from an old hero. Dude, I've seen her autograph going for like 500, 600. It's like, you guys are insane. I've seen them charge more for her autograph than the president's. It's nuts. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's your hero, Becoming. Oh man. But like I said, one of these days I'll get around to making the Robert E. Lee documentary. I know that's the main person you want. That's your favorite general of all time. That's one of your heroes. Virginia's greatest statesman. We'll get around to him sooner than later. Oh, I forgot. You're more of a Stonewall Jackson fan, huh? That was the real hero of the Confederacy. He could have been the greatest, but instead he chose to be a rebel. I find him really interesting, um, just from the standpoint of like being from an era where people were more loyal to their state than their country, and I can't turn my sword against Virginia. 'Cause, I had one person say that they care more about their state than the U.S. overall, which yeah, but for me, I could say California is the priority, but if the stuff was, if things were good here, I'm all for going into Nevada and Arizona and, kind of like expanding to address whatever ills are there too. Help the people in those states as well, even if I don't live there. Oh man. Ah. The union is one of the best things that has ever happened in North America. I mean, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying that I do genuinely find Lee interesting. And he is one of the most important figures of the Civil War era. Mm. Like I said, man, I just have to like sit back and just start doing some of this stuff. Just like I wanted to make a video, like do like parallels of certain historical figures, stuff they have in common with each other. Like a lot of people compare Lincoln and Kennedy, but Lincoln and Johnson have a lot in common. Where it's like they both grow up poor. They both have some mom that they're like really close to, and a dad where there's like a little bit of distance, more so with Lincoln's dad versus Johnson's dad, but still. Um, and then of course when they take office, they both inherit a war where Lincoln has the Civil War, Johnson has Vietnam. Of course, one gets lauded for their performance, the other one does not. I'm just saying Lincoln and Johnson have like many overarching themes. I mean, Lincoln has the Emancipation Proclamation, Johnson has the Civil Rights Act. Um, and of course, I'm just saying that there are things there that I can pick up on, and if we go like piece by piece, and there are a lot of Johnson Nixon comparisons, whole bunch of them. Carter and Trump have a lot in common too, where they both run for president as outsiders, and they both have really bad relations with Congress. Um, where Carter could barely get any of his stuff passed, much in the same way that Trump had as well, and eventually ended up just resigning himself, just doing executive orders. Um, Even though they both have opposition from their own party, Trump has way more control over the GOP than Carter ever had over the Democrats. And it's funny because it's like when Carter lost his reelection bid, there was talk of him running again in '88, and he was like, "No, I'm not doing that." And then, of course, Trump eventually ended up doing that, and being where he is now. But you get the idea that like there are, like, you wouldn't think Carter and Trump would have things in common, but they actually have quite a lot of like similar themes in terms of just specific regions that they have. No, I'm not. This is not to say Carter did was bad or anything. I'm simply explaining to you that there are objective parallels that Trump and Carter have that Trump does not have with most other presidents. I mean, hey, Trump had tearing up the Iran nuclear deal, and Carter had the Iranian hostage crisis. It is funny because Trump's like sidekicks, they compare Biden to Carter, but Trump has more in common with Carter than Biden does with Carter, in my opinion. Just from like what I've noticed and how they're like from what I've read about Carter's tenure and then how Trump's went from being there. Nothing could have been done to deal to. No, I'm not saying that there could have been. I'm just explaining that both of them have a significant um event relating to Iran occur during their tenures. And in Carter's case, I don't see what he could have done. In Trump's case, he was all for screwing up relations even for I mean, again, his own national security advisor said he wanted regime change over there. They both follow their dads, right? Because Trump's dad used to, do the whole real estate thing. Carter's dad was the peanut farmer, and after he died, Carter went over to run his farm. So there, just I'm saying, there's a lot of like little similarities there that and when you go in order from like the start of their lives, it just it all just keeps tracking, you know? Iran is extremely resilient, 3,000 plus year old country. Like I said, I really would like to do some parallel videos because you'd be surprised at some of the stuff that these people have in common with each other. Just like of any president after Reagan, the one that probably has the most in common with him is Obama. I know that sounds crazy, but they were both like very um, known as like these great speakers, whatever. Um, a lot of like foreign conflicts, the whole, and let's not forget both of them have a VP, right? Bush and Biden, who became president after they were in office and served one term before they were out of there. Well, it's funny because if you read um, the biography that was written on her, Nancy did not get along with the older Bushes, and she got along much better with Bush 43. In fact, she and Bush 43 have the same birthday, July 6th. Right. Well, I'm saying that there's a like, it's crazy to think that out of any of Reagan's successors, he has more in common with a two-term president from the opposite party who was actually the first one of the presidents. It's crazy to think about this. Out of all the presidents after Reagan, Obama is the only one that didn't meet Reagan. Biden met him when he was a senator. Trump met him, when during his whole I'm famous phase. Um, the Bushes met him. Like, wow. I'm just saying, we start putting this stuff together, you get the we need reform badly. Oh, I don't dispute that at all. Oh, let's not forget that both Reagan and Obama tried to cut Social Security. That's another plus in their column. Just like the older, not well, the younger Bush and Obama have more in common with each other than I would say Obama and Clinton have. Right, two-term presidents. They're both really anti-immigrants, with both of them deporting over 2 million illegal immigrants. Mm. The whole warmonger thing, where Bush, started two conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan, and Obama took us from two wars to seven. It's really crazy to think just how influential Bush 43 was. Like, for as little as they talk about him, he did matter. He did change things. Stuff that we are still paying for. That 2 to 7 was ridiculous. Well, see, this is why I like the documentaries, but also the idea of doing the parallel videos, because sometimes you don't, like, people know who some of these presidents are, but they don't really know everything, or like most of what I would consider the big significant stuff that happened during, oh, the sun's finally coming out. The big significant things that happened when they were in office, like the stuff that, you know, like I asked my little brother one time, what do you remember about Obama? Oh, he did Obamacare. I thought that was really sad, because even as someone who's not an Obama fan, I thought the Iran nuclear deal was important. Restoring relations with Cuba was important. Um, Jailing journalists 6 times with the Espionage Act was important. Again, it's funny. Obama was the first president in all of American history for their entire tenure to be defined by war. There was not one day of peace. From when he entered office in 2009 all the way up until when he left in 2017, it was just warring somewhere with some region. Just insane. Yeah, I've been going for so long that they're open now. I guess after I finish streaming, I'll just drive over there and get something to eat, and then come back and probably go to sleep. Go like this. Usually I like to get a little bit of ice cream, but it's so cold. Well, it's not as cold now because the sun's coming out, but you get the idea. It's like 10 in the morning. I'm not going to eat that now. But like I said, man, I'm trying to make this stuff. I just have to get the time and take things day by day. Oh boy. See, hopefully I can put up some more pieces of the documentaries before the end of the year, and then we can go from there. So, Jem, do you have anything left to say before I wrap this up? Because my place just opened. I want to go in and get something and come back and then get to relax for the remainder of the day. Any further comments, thoughts, theories, concerns, statements? Speak now or forever hold your peace, or at least hold your peace until Monday. I got to remind myself I'm off tomorrow. I'm so used to working on Sunday. That's why I said these jobs are really stupid. They have people that are willing to work on the weekend, and they don't even use you on the weekend. They just get dumber and dumber. We have you for weekend, but just because we have you for weekend doesn't mean we will use you for the weekend. Well, like I said, I'm gonna try to do Johnson Part 7 again. Hopefully before the end of the year. I'm going through like 4 or 5 different books, so that's why it's taking longer. And doing the Nixon one as well. Hopefully catch you again soon. No, I think you're gonna go and disappear, and I already know what you're gonna do, man. Look, election day, you're gonna be hoping Harris pulls out the victory, and if she does, you're gonna go watch Barbie and celebrate, and then you're gonna open up your copy of Becoming by Michelle Obama and be inspired and read it and get all excited. Then the week after that one, you're gonna go and pick up, where's the other damn book? Ugh. I didn't even know I pushed this thing out. You're gonna go and pick this up. Be like, oh my god, my hero, she did it! Yay! You're like, yeah, she pulled it off. Hallelujah! That's you. No, that's what we had to show your hero's picture. But no, if you do get a copy of Becoming, let me know and I'll sign it. I'm gonna do like Rand Paul when he was running for president. He was over there signing the copies of the Constitution. Even though he didn't write the damn book, he gets to write his name on it and make $1,000. Just insane. Oh man. Well, I'm gonna go up here, try to get something to eat, and hopefully after this stream you'll be more satisfied with me. And that look, I just hope that one day I'm able to crack your top 10 favorite I guess political figures, contemporary ones. Like I know I don't hold a candle to AOC or MTG or Michelle or Kamala, but I'm trying to keep in your graces. Oh, you said you'll never consider me for your top 10 contemporary political figures. I'll always be second fiddle to Melania and Michelle and and MTG. Oh well, that brings tears to my eyes. I'm very saddened and heartbroken. I don't know if I can go on after getting such devastating news. Yeah. Well, have a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the near future.